Your car is choking on 40% of its own power, and I have the shop receipts to prove it. Last week, a customer paid me $200 to fix something a 30-second trick would have prevented. After 20 years of watching dealers quietly milk drivers for billions, I'm done staying quiet. I reveal 17 secret car tricks your maker buried on purpose to keep power and profits in their hands, not yours. Stay with me. The final trick costs $12, takes 5 minutes, and it's why my truck hit 387,000 miles without a single big repair. Let's go. 17. The throttle reset trick. Modern cars use electronic throttle control. A computer decides how far the throttle opens when you press the gas. Over time, this system learns habits from how you drive. Slow starts, soft throttle, low rev limits. Dealers charge $150 for the exact same recalibration. But here's the thing. The computer never forgets those habits, even after you change oil, air filter, or spark plugs. It keeps driving like you're afraid of the gas. The forbidden trick: you can reset this behavior in under a minute. No tools, no parts. Turn the key to on without starting the engine. Press the gas to the floor for 10 seconds. Turn the key off, release the pedal, then wait another 10 seconds before starting. That clears the throttle learning data and forces the ECU to learn fresh, like giving your car a clean personality. I did this last week on a customer's Camry. He texted me, "Feels 20% faster. Drivers report instant better throttle response and smoother idle within minutes." It's a simple trick, but makers rarely promote it because it shows how often cars leave the factory underrated. But a clean throttle only helps so much if your engine is clogged with years of carbon. 16. The secret intake cleaning that feels like more horsepower. Pop the hood on any car over 30,000 miles and look at the throttle or intake. You'll likely see a black sticky layer. That's carbon from oil vapor and fuel residue. Want to guess how to fix it? A dealer charged a customer $347 last month for intake cleaning, but you can do it for $8 and 15 minutes with a can of CRC intake valve cleaner or Seafoam. Here's how. Warm the engine up, then spray the cleaner directly into the intake while holding the revs around 2,000. The engine will stumble, smoke, and cough. That's normal. You're burning years of carbon off the valves. Once the smoke clears, it idles smoother, pulls harder, and feels 10 years younger. This customer's Accord gained 3 miles per gallon. At today's prices, that's $400 saved per year. A Toyota Camry that had a shaky idle ran like butter after. It's technically frowned upon because makers don't want you spraying chemicals into the intake, but it's the same process dealers charge big money for. Still, a clean intake won't save you from what quietly kills transmissions. Quick reminder: if you like this, hit subscribe now. 15. The transmission flush hack. Ask a dealer if you should flush your transmission and they'll usually say no. Sealed for life, but sealed for life often means sealed until warranty ends. I've replaced 46 transmissions that died right after warranty ended. Then sludge and varnish start to clog fluid passages and solenoids, making shifts lazy or jerky. The forbidden workaround? Do a partial drain and refill every 10,000 to 15,000 miles, instead of waiting 60,000. Each time you only replace a third of the fluid, but over 3 changes you'll replace almost all of it. This keeps the system clean without shocking it, and avoids the failure risk of a full flush. A customer brought a slipping Civic with 120,000 miles. The dealer wanted $3,800 for a rebuild. Instead of replacing the transmission, we did 3 partial drain fills over a month. On the third, shifts were crisp. The car felt new. Total cost, $120. Makers don't tell you this because lifetime fluid makes maintenance cheaper for them, but this trick saves transmissions from early death every day. 14. The spark plug gap tweak. Nobody mentions that plugs come pre-gapped from the factory, but pre-gapped just means roughly set at the factory. In 20 years, I've never seen a perfectly pre-gapped plug from the factory. In real engines, even 1/1000th of an inch can mean the difference between perfect burn and wasted fuel. Here's the mechanic's secret. Set the gap a little tighter than factory, about 0.02 inches less. That small change strengthens the spark under load, improves throttle response and idle stability. I tried it on a customer's Mazda 3 that had a rough idle. I tightened the plug gap by 0.02 inches. Idle smoothed right away. Acceleration felt sharper. Fuel economy rose by a full mile per gallon. That's a $200 dealer tune-up for free. No maker recommends it because it changes EPA test parameters and can affect emissions, so it's stamped forbidden. But it's harmless for everyday drivers who want crisper throttle. Still, even the perfect spark won't help an engine choked by dirty sensors. And that brings the next trick that changes everything. 13. The O2 sensor quick fix. A dealer wanted $280 yesterday to replace a customer's O2 sensor. O2 sensors monitor your exhaust and tell the ECU how much fuel to mix with air. Over time, carbon slows their response, so your engine runs rich, wastes gas, and fouls plugs. Most replace them every 100,000 miles. That's expensive. Instead, pull the sensors out, soak the tips overnight in gasoline or a sensor-safe cleaner, and reinstall them. Refreshing costs nothing and restores sensor accuracy, improves economy, and reduces hesitation. This year alone, I've saved customers over $10,000 with this one trick. It's the kind of forbidden mechanic trick that saves hundreds and feels like your engine just woke up. But that's just the start. Next, I'll tell you a trick that really goes into don't let your mechanic see this territory. This one will change how your car breathes, burns, and performs overall. Say 12, the airbox secret vent. Your airbox not only filters air, it also limits it. Makers design intake systems for noise and emission rules, not for power. That's why most stock intakes have resonators and narrow channels that choke airflow. Here's the forbidden trick. Drill a few small holes on the cold side of the airbox, the section before the filter, to let extra cool air in. Don't touch the hot side near the engine. Cooler, denser air means better burn and faster throttle response. It's not about loud, cold air noise. It's about giving your engine the oxygen it wants. A Civic owner I worked with gained 2 miles per gallon and smoother acceleration just from 3 2-inch holes hidden under the airbox lid. Cost, 5 minutes and a drill. But the airbox trick only works if what comes after it lets the sensors tell the truth. And you wouldn't guess how easy it is to bypass that. 3 holes, 5 minutes, instant improvement. But it only works if your sensors aren't lying to the control unit. 11. The MAF cleaning that feels like magic. Your mass airflow sensor, the MAF, is the brain of your fuel system. It measures how much air gets into the engine and tells the ECU how much fuel to add. Over time, microscopic dust coats the sensor wire, tricking it low so the engine runs rich, wastes gas, and fouls plugs. Most people replace the sensor for $120 to $200. The forbidden trick? Don't replace it, clean it. Pull the sensor off. Spray it gently with MAF cleaner. Never use brake cleaner. Let it dry 10 minutes and reinstall. That's it. The difference is immediate. Smoother idle, sharper response, stronger mid-range pull. Yesterday, an SUV owner came in getting 14 mpg. After $8 of MAF cleaner, 18 mpg. That's $800 a year at current gas prices. Every dealer tech cleans this secretly before recommending a new sensor, then charges you for a new part. But clean sensors don't help if your fuel system is fighting dirty gas. Even one speck, rust or dust can cause big trouble. But there's a bypass you can use. 10. The fuel filter bypass. I've pulled fuel pumps killed by lifetime filters at only 80,000 miles. That's a $1,000 replacement. Walk into any dealer today and you'll hear the same line. You never need to change your fuel filter. They call it a lifetime filter, hidden clean in the tank, part of a sealed assembly meant to last the car's life. But what they don't tell you is lifetime doesn't mean forever. It means until the warranty runs out. After that, you're on your own, and so is your fuel system. See, modern cars use fine injectors that spray a microscopic fuel mist into the chamber. Over time, those lifetime filters clog and starve the engine of steady fuel flow. Symptoms creep in. Rough idle, lazy throttle, a little stumble under load. Most drivers blame age, bad gas, or plugs. But ask any old-school mechanic and they'll tell you it's almost always fuel restriction. That's where the fuel filter bypass trick comes in. It's one of those underground secrets mechanics have used for decades to keep old cars running like new. The idea is brilliantly simple. Install an external inline fuel filter between the tank and the engine bay. A clear one, rated for injector pressure. With a clean, high-flow filter there, you gain something makers never planned: visibility. You can literally see what your fuel looks like before it hits your injectors. Installation isn't rocket science, but it needs care. Cut the fuel line at a safe spot before the engine bay. Clamp the new filter in, secure it, and check for leaks. From then on, maintenance is easy. When the filter darkens, you know it's time. Swap it for a $6 replacement in 5 minutes. Compare that to the alternative: pulling the whole tank, disassembling the pump, and replacing an internal filter that's not meant to be touched. That's a $1,000 dealer job, easily avoided with this small preventive tweak. Seeing your car's health in a clear fuel filter is a small, satisfying rebellion against hidden parts and planned obsolescence. But cleaner fuel is just the start. True power lights off in the combustion chamber, where fire, pressure, and timing really wake your engine. The next trick is so risky I thought about not including it. One mistake costs $4,000. Done right, your engine runs 100,000 miles younger. 9. The water vapor trick. It sounds like an old mechanic's tale. Pour water in a running engine and it gets better. But the water vapor trick, or water decarbonizing, isn't just a myth in dusty garages. It's an underground technique tuners have used for decades. Done right, it can make an old engine run like it has a second life. The idea is simple. With the engine fully warm and steady at idle, you introduce a fine mist of water into the intake. When that mist hits the hot combustion chambers, it flashes to steam. The sudden steam expansion scrubs the insides, blasting carbon deposits off pistons, valves, and combustion surfaces. These deposits, built up from years of incomplete burns, are like cholesterol in your engine's arteries. They choke airflow, cut efficiency, and make everything sluggish. But water, plain water, becomes a micro sandblaster when it vaporizes under high heat and pressure. The process is microscopically violent. Steam molecules wedge under carbon flakes, lift and soften them, and send them out as gray plumes from the exhaust. You often see it yourself. Thick black smoke from the exhaust as decades of residue come out. The result? The engine breathes easier, idles smoother, and sometimes feels like it gained 10 horsepower overnight. Still, this is not a trick for the careless. Add too much water too fast, and you risk hydrolock. Do it wrong, and you're looking at a $4,000 engine rebuild from a bent connecting rod. Liquids don't compress, and a cylinder full of water can bend a rod in an instant. That's why old mechanics stress control. A fine mist, not a stream. Steady RPM, not a rev war. And patience. Always patience. Those who do it right swear by the results. Engines that once rattled at idle calm to a quiet hum. Exhaust tones smooth. Fuel economy nudges up. And that stubborn carbon comes off for good. I used it last month on a 200,000-mile Toyota. The owner said it drove like it did at 100,000 miles. Even the cleanest combustion needs one more thing to be truly efficient: a perfect spark. Because once the chambers are spotless, what good is the spark that lights everything if it doesn't fire with absolute precision? Still watching? Good. You're already ahead of 90% of drivers. But the next 8 tricks separate weekend warriors from pros who never pay for repairs. 8. The coil swap. Ignition coils are designed for specific engines, but here's the catch. Many cross over between brands, and some are stronger. Performance fans use slightly stronger coils from compatible models to improve spark stability and combustion. For example, certain Nissan and Infiniti coils share mounts and plugs, but deliver 10 to 15% stronger spark. The swap gives immediate crisper throttle and steadier idle. It's technically forbidden because it changes emissions gear, but the effect is instant. Cleaner burn and faster response. A Maxima owner got smoother power and a real torque bump with this simple cross swap. Cost, $60 from the junkyard. The same customer would have paid $400 at the dealer for OEM coils that do the same thing. See, spark and air are only half the story. The next trick adjusts something few think about, the invisible math your ECU uses to control everything. 7. The ECU relearn cycle. Whenever you disconnect the battery or replace sensors, the car runs rough for a few days. That's because the ECU relearns fuel trims and idle control. But here's what most don't know. You can force a perfect relearn. After reconnecting the battery, turn the key to on without starting. Wait 10 seconds, then start the car and let it idle untouched for 15 minutes. Don't step on the gas. Don't turn on the AC. This steady state lets the ECU cleanly recalibrate air-fuel ratios, throttle position, and idle timing. Do this after major service and you'll feel the difference. Smoother throttle, steadier idle, cleaner shifts. Dealers call it a reprogram. They charge $150 for it and all they do is the same process. Calibration means little if the system that controls it runs slightly off timing. That can cause lots of trouble, but there's a simple hack to fix it. 6. The timing advance hack. Engines are set conservatively at the factory to handle bad fuel and careless drivers. That means ignition timing is often a few degrees shy of the sweet spot.